I get the great pleasure of introducing our guests today, Steve and Terri Moffart, who've traveled from the great state of Wisconsin to join us here. And Steve is going to tell his story, their story together, of his diagnosis with glioblastoma multiforme in 2007, and the remarkable course he has had with Avastin, starting that treatment in 2008, really transformative for him and his family. And this is by way of reminding us of why it's important to keep working on the 36 molecules in early development, all of the projects in research, and what happens after they move out of GRED, move into Hal's organization, all of the fascinating things that happen there, and then really get to people out there, to patients, the ultimate goal, and change their lives. So welcome, Steve and Terri Moffart.
Thank you. All right, good afternoon. Thank you very much for being here to listen to our story. It's an honor to be here. I am in awe right now. First of all, to be here physically, but second of all, just to be here in front of all of you. You can't even imagine how grateful we are that there are people out there that care about this stuff like you do. No idea. As Sean mentioned, I'm Steve Moffart. We're from the great state of Wisconsin. It's nice. It's a nice place. San Francisco is beautiful, by the way. We will come back. And we'll bring our little guy very soon. Let me show you. There he is right there, Tucker. There's a Tuck man. There's our boy. Can't wait to get back with him. But anyway, my name is Steve Moffart. I'm an elementary teacher, a husband, a father. To my right here is my beautiful sidekick, my wife, mother to my only son, and my main caregiver. I cannot believe that she's even here to help tell my story. It's amazing. You're going to see in our presentation what she's endured, and I can't say enough. With that, she told me not to ramble. I like to ramble. My second graders will tell you I ramble, so I'm just going to move on. We have a presentation here to give you our story. You'll see as in the progression, it'll start with life before cancer, my life during cancer, and Avastin, and where we are currently at right now, life with Avastin, and life because of your work. As you see here, a journey with brain cancer and Avastin. That is a picture actually this past Mother's Day. Terri, myself, and our son Tucker. Here we go, first page. Life before cancer. As you can see, we're probably your pretty average American couple, right there on this page just gives you an idea of some of the things that we enjoyed. Right there on the top left, we were at the Brickyard 400. I'm a NASCAR fan. To the right there, moving in clockwise position, I was huge into athletics. I played some college football, and in the summer times after college, I played in a hardball league there. Believe it or not, 6'6" catcher there. I'm kind of proud of that. But my knees are a little sore today and every day, but who knows what that's from. But I played a lot of softball, a lot of basketball, and just very active. Next picture there to the right is actually my younger brother. We enjoy country music, good old country music. We were at a country music festival there. Just enjoying the sun and the music. The next picture, I have no idea why my wife put that on there. It's in 7th grade getting fitted for braces, I believe. That's an orthodontist picture.
I wanted you to see what he looked like when he was young.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I don't know. I like the yellow chair, though. That's nice. The middle there, another group shot of one of my baseball teams, one of my hardball teams, the boys there. Just to the right of that is my baby before Tucker. It's my 89 Firebird Formula, which sadly I got rid of right before Tucker's birth and my bout with cancer. And I keep in contact with the fellow that I sold it to, hoping someday he'll sell it back to me. I don't know. We'll see. That was my baby. Bottom left, that's my family at Christmas time years ago. Middle, I am fishing there at my in-laws' cottage. Beautiful, beautiful. Just can't say enough about up north in the cottage. You know, I enjoy, I'm not a huge outdoorsman, but I enjoy the peace in the quiet of up north. And all the way to the right is my wife Terry's family. I believe that's her brother's wedding right there. So that's just kind of life before, you know, just pretty average folks, and we like to do everyday things right there. A couple more. I'll go a little quicker. Life before diagnosis. Continue.
I'm like,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, there I'm rambling. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Smack
keep
dab in the
going.
middle. There I am. Dropping the question. Our proposal at a Green Bay Packer game. Thought I'd do it in style. Actually, I'm a huge Denver Bronco fan, and I'm wearing my LA jersey, and it was Denver versus Green Bay. I call it the Bronco game, not the Packer game. But as you can see, bottom left, she did say yes. So there's our wedding. Let's go top. Well, actually, bottom right, honeymoon. We met some folks from Chicago that we hung out with and had a great time. There's our honeymoon in Mexico. Way top left, St. Patrick's Day with some good friends. Top right, Halloween, which is her birthday. Halloween. We always have a good time on Halloween. Continuing on, diagnosis. Here's where our journey with cancer and Avastin began, right here. November 2007. Actually, Thanksgiving Day, we were eating turkey dinner with my folks, and I was telling my mom and Terry that I had this unusual tingling sensation in the left side of my nose, and as weeks went on, it progressed to my cheek and ear and just down my arm. I just had, and actually it's still kind of there today, but it was unusual. I knew it wasn't right, and they told me to go to the doctor and get that checked out, and like most men, I said, no way, I'm not going. I'll be all right. But after talking to them and seeing the expressions on their face, I realized I better go. So the day after Thanksgiving, I went to the doctor, and he suggested an MRI, and we had that MRI, and he said he would call us in a couple days to give us results, but actually he called that day and said, Steve, you better get in here. We have something to talk about. I also forgot to mention that Terry was 7.5 months pregnant at this time with our only son, Tucker. So there's a lot of things going on. When we got there, we met with Dr. Washer, an amazing man. All of you in the medical field, I don't even know where to start. But he had a plan from the start. He was very positive. I think Terry and I are both positive people as well, but Dr. Washer and his crew are amazing. His plan from the beginning, he laid it out for us. You know, he suggested several treatments and suggested we do them in this order and see what we can do from there. My first bout was CyberKnife. I had a week of CyberKnife, and actually at the time I was teaching 5th grade at the time, so I would teach during the day. At noon, I'd get a sub for the afternoon, and I'd go in for my treatments, go home, get up the next morning, go teach for half a day, go to my treatments. So I did that for a week. Before I did that, they also gave me the steroids, which really started making an effect with my body and everything. We'll get into that shortly here. The next step was the Temidar, the pill version there. I took that. These things all together, they slowed the progression of the tumor down. They weren't the answer, but they were slowing things down for me. And then as you know, the steroids, I was at a very high dose, as you know, to keep the swelling down. Pictures there, wife and I on vacation. That's you're 7.5 months pregnant right there. And on the bottom, that was Thanksgiving, I think at your cottage. Yeah. Right there is my first scan right there of, you guys are medical people, you probably know what you're looking at there better than I do. There's my first scan. As you can see, the tumor is right here located on my brain stem, so it was inoperable. That's why we took these other steps, because surgery was not an option. That was my first scan, so keep an eye on that. At the end, you'll see what Avastin has done. But that is the initial scan right there. All right. So as I mentioned, Terry was pregnant through the beginning of this. And on February 11th, 2008, my son Tucker was born. There I am holding him. Actually, it's kind of an interesting thing. They induced Terry a couple weeks early because they wanted to make sure that I was there to see Tucker even being born. So that was the proudest moment in my life. And that's my father right there in the picture as well. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Terri because from here on, I don't remember a lot of the rest of this middle portion of the journey. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
As Steve said, Tucker's birth was quite something. When we were first told of Steve's diagnosis, they didn't tell us how severe things were, but I knew it was a really devastating diagnosis, and they were very worried that Steve wouldn't be able to see the birth of our son. Steve began a medical leave from work in March of that year. I think a lot of the treatments had taken a toll, and he was starting to really, the steroids were making him very
Physically,
tired.
mentally, it was wearing me out.
Yeah, he was becoming very tired. Just physical things were happening and stuff. So he took a medical leave from work. He actually, one of the other things that Dr. Washer had a bunch of treatments in mind for Steve to do, but on the back burner was always the blood-brain barrier disruption in the University of Minnesota. That was something that had all those things not worked. That was on the back burner for us to try. So he went down and he had a biopsy done, which they were very leery in doing anyway because of the location of Steve's tumor. But it was done, and when Steve started Avastin, we were very lucky to have had that tissue. The next thing that you'll see here is you can notice definitely that Steve is starting to change physically from the steroids, and his legs became very weak by this time. He also, what we didn't know that the steroids would do, that they would make his blood sugars rise a lot. Nobody ever told us that. He entered in April Theta Clark Medical Hospital in a steroid-induced coma. From then on, he really did not remember anything for a very long time. I'm talking maybe almost a year. So in the hospital, it was horrible. He didn't know who I was. Friends and family of ours were having a benefit for our family at this point, and he was not able to be there. So that was very hard. And then I was also trying to take care of our 2-year-old at the same time. So that
wasn't 2 at that time, but newborn, actually, yeah.
What did I say?
So
yes, our 2-year-old,
yeah.
our
He's 2
newborn at
now,
that time.
yeah.
Yes, sorry. Thank you. And after the stint in the hospital, he came home. It was very scary because of his not reality with life, sort of, as you would say. I was scared to be in the house with him. He didn't know who we were. He would do very odd things. I remember one time putting Tucker to bed and going and sleeping on the floor next to him because he just would wander around the house, and I never knew with a newborn the safety that we would have together. So I know I locked myself in the room with Tucker a few times. At the end of May, Steve was scheduled for an MRI, and it showed that the tumor had grown again. So with all the treatments that he had done, the tumor was still growing, unfortunately. At this time, though, Steve was so mentally unstable and physically not doing very well. The idea of going to the University of Minnesota for the blood-brain barrier disruption was not an option. He just wouldn't have made it through it, I don't think. So the physicians told us it was time to enter hospice. In that summer, Steve wasn't aware of many important things that happened. Father's Day, Tucker's baptism. He always wanted to go to Fenway. We did end up finding a way to take him to Fenway, but he does not remember those things. Here are a couple other pictures of some of our friends through a golf outing benefit for us. There were several of our friends that brought fries, little things to help our family try to get through when he wasn't working and I wasn't working as well. you can really see
Fenway,
Steve.
right there.
Yep.
In the dugout.
Yes, Fenway. We were in the dugout. We were very lucky to be able to go down on the field.
Someday
and
we'll get back there when I can remember
Yes.
it. But we were in the dugout.
Steve's very sad about that.
We're in the dugout right there.
Very
Ted
sad.
Williams sat right there. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, he wants to go back really bad. So, but really, you can see Steve in bed with Tucker. I tried to make as many movies at this point, and we tried to spend as much time as a family, even though Steve slept constantly. We tried to fit that time in together because we didn't know how much time we had. Before I get into the introduction to Avastin, Steve, in late August, which from the time he was put on hospice until August, that was about the time frame that they gave us that he would live. But I noticed in early August that Steve started writing cards to Tucker. And I had encouraged him to sort of do that, but I sort of felt like he was maybe getting better. And it was really neat to see. He actually picked up a pen and started to do this. So, and shortly after that, one of Steve's physicians called me and said that he was really following the clinical trials of Avastin, and he was getting really excited, thought, you know, this is your decision, but I wanted to give you the idea of Avastin. And it was hard. It was very hard for me to think, are we even going to go down this road again? It's not like you ever really give up hope, but it's hard to go down that road again. So I thought about it for a while. I went home. I told Steve about it. I didn't really know if he understood what I was saying, but he said, whatever we've got to do, let's keep trying. So we decided that we'd go ahead with Avastin. He discontinued hospice and received his first MRI since May, and the tumor was back smaller again. So I think a lot of rest and just being together as a family, I don't know, that's what I choose to think. Once again, thank goodness for the biopsy that we had done in March, because he was able to start Avastin right away.
That enabled us to get going right away, yeah.
Yep. Steve's first treatment with Avastin was in early September. Steve was working out with the trainer. Well, actually, you weren't working out with the trainer yet, but he was working with like a Theta Care at home. And with the Avastin, he started doing some physical therapy at home. He started out going to treatments in a wheelchair. By October, this is October, you can see he's still physically a little rough, but he's standing. That's a good thing. By October, he was going into treatments in a walker, or with a walker, and by December, he was walking in, November, he was walking in with a cane. Not to say that there weren't bumps in the road. He had several infections from Avastin throughout that time, but he was up and walking, and it was amazing. Another milestone for us was it was 1 year from the diagnosis in November, so that was pretty cool.
Eeyore is getting bigger, as you can see.
Yeah.
That was Halloween. He was Eeyore.
He was Eeyore.
His cousins
He was
were
so cute.
the Winnie the Pooh gang, and he was the perfect Eeyore.
Yeah, even though he's like the happiest kid. December 2008, Steve had his first MRI since beginning of Avastin. It showed so much improvement. It was amazing. I wish we had that middle part to show you too, but we don't, unfortunately.
Definitely a light,
it was a
inspiration to keep going.
Yeah, it was great. By December, Steve was walking in by himself to treatments. That was so cool. These were like the first. They were so great. In February, Tucker's first birthday, we were so excited, especially because they didn't think that Steve would be able to see the birth of his son. And Steve, I'm going to hand this back over to you. This is where the light kind of came on for Steve, and he feels like he was back in the reality of life. He started working out with a trainer.
I can remember to tell this part again. So as you see that bottom picture, I kind of joke about that. I'm not trying to scare my kid, but I had the Guns N' Roses t-shirt on, so the skull and crossbones wasn't to scare him, but for some reason he likes pirates now, so I don't know if maybe I steered him into the pirate mode. I don't know. We'll see. See how that turns out. But anyway, moving on here. Now, like I said, after I've been on Avastin for a little while, I've felt great changes mentally, physically. I mean, I was out of my chair. I was starting to to train and get back in shape a little bit again and do some therapy type things. Also, I passed the test again to start driving. Once I was diagnosed with cancer, I guess I never lost my license, but wasn't a good idea to be driving around at that point. So I just halted my driving for a while. But I did take a test where I was cleared to say, hey, you're good, here you go. That brought huge amounts of freedom back to my life. And Terri laughed because
I
she
was
said,
so hoping he'd pass that test.
I felt free, but so did she. She didn't have to bring me everywhere. So.
And then I found things for him to do so that he would go.
then I wanted to stay home, and she made me drive somewhere. So
Not with Tucker at first.
not with
though.
that was a big thing too. My doctor, Dave Bond, he kept saying, Steve, you want to get back? You want to get back behind the wheel? Let's do this, And I was kind of scared, And I said, how do I know I'm ready? How am I'm not gonna. I don't want to go out there and hurt somebody, let alone myself. And he said, well, you're ready when you would feel comfortable driving Tucker in the back seat. When you're ready to give Tucker a ride, you're ready. And finally, a couple weeks later, I came and said, I'm ready to give my boy a ride. So that's when we did it. Anyway, moving on. I started coaching. I wasn't teaching at this time. I was still on a leave, but I started coaching baseball again. I was a head coach. When I taught JV baseball at Appleton East, and I went back as an assistant. So I started getting into it a little bit again. Started showing my face around the diamond, and being around the fellas really helped. It was very therapeutic. And then moving on, Avastin, as you guys know, was approved in May. That whole time while I was taking it, it wasn't approved, but it was approved in May, and we were asked to travel to New York City, which was a great honor. Very similar to this. We traveled to New York City where, I'm going to screw this name up. We met Dr. Vredenberg, is that right?
Vredenberg.
Yeah. He's a professor at Duke University. I guess he's a leader in Avastin, I think, too, as far as the promotion of it or testing it. Maybe you guys have heard of him, I don't know. But we did a satellite tour where we did 27 interviews via satellite radio shows, cable shows. So that was cool. It was quite an honor. Like I said, very similar to this. And then when we got home, it was summertime, and I just worked hard all summer with the goal to get back to teaching. I took off a year and a half. That was long enough. I was feeling confident again. Physically, mentally, I was coming back. Avastin got me there. I mean, it made me confident enough, again, to get back literally on my feet, and I wanted to get back into the classroom and do what I do, and hopefully get back to my head coaching job, too, someday. So that's where we are at that point. Just some pictures of that summer right there. There's top left, Tucker and I in the backyard hitting baseballs. I think he was only one in that picture. Right now, like I said, he's 2, and he's just cranking balls left and right.
Daddy's very proud.
I'm proud. But way to the right, we started attending social events again. We're at a wedding right there. Him and I were matching, I think. We tried to anyway. Bottom left, we're back at Country USA after taking a year off. We got back to Country USA and living it up a little bit there. And right in the middle, bottom middle, carrying on the fishing to the boy right there. So there we are once again with the old Snoopy pole. Actually, I think it was when there was like only Barbie pole. I'm rambling.
I don't know
sorry.
what it was.
I went to go buy the Snoopy pole, and all we found was Barbie poles. So I ended up going to buy a Transformer one and modifying it to a NASCAR pole. So, but it works. It works.
Literally, he did.
It's all NASCAR out now. But anyway, September to the present. So going back to school here. I have 2 years with cancer. 1 full year now, this September, or shortly after August, 1 full year with the Avastin. And as you can see, you guys saw when I was at my worst there, here's some pictures from Avastin till now. I started teaching this past school year in September. We just wrapped that up. We're on vacation right now. I just got a full year in teaching 2nd grade. And, people ask, I was 5th grade when I was sick, or when I was diagnosed, and people ask, how do you like 2nd grade? And, I don't know if it's the fact that I'm just back, but it was my best year ever, and I will stay in 2nd grade. I loved it. You know, I don't know if it's the second grade that I love or just being back, but either one, it was amazing. And since then, we've just reached many more milestones. 2 years since diagnosis, Tucker's second birthday in February. I got back to coaching. I was a head coach this year for our JV ball team. And I just finished up 1 year of teaching. Like I said, top left there, we're in the backyard. Now he's 2, we're hitting off the tee, so he's got his helmet on, he's ready to go. Just to the right of that, just a family picture. And down below was a guided reading group with my second graders this spring. And they're interested and ready to go just like I am. So it's amazing to get back to do, you know, for me, teaching is what I know I'm here for, what I've been put here for, and it's so amazing just to be back doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And when I look at you guys, you know, I was saying to Terri, and listen, after getting that tour with, earlier today we had a tour. I saw the fellow here who gave us a tour. Or is he here still? Pete? Paul. I met so many people today. I knew it was a Pete, but I'm amazed with his knowledge and all of yours. And I mean, it's just, I'm so thankful that there are people out there that care like you guys and that love what you do and work for such a wonderful company. And Paul was a man. He did a great job. Am I rambling on?
Yep.
I'm rambling. All right. Yeah, I can't thank you guys enough. I mean, I hope we're inspiring you here to keep doing it. All right. Yeah,
We just have a couple more things that we want to say, and then we will be done, okay? We were asked to tell you what's changed now after Avastin in our lives, and I really think we talked a lot about this together. Steve didn't want to do this part because he felt like he'd tear up, so I'm going to try to do the best I can.
In New York, and I couldn't keep it together, so.
The things that have changed in our life is definitely our outlook on life. We are so fortunate to have our immediate family, Tucker, Steve, and I, but also our families that have helped us through this journey. I believe that Steve is mentally stronger and more focused. I love that about him. I think he was before, but going through this journey has definitely improved that. Steve's short-term memory and things that he recalls are you know, sometimes not as good in his balance and coordination.
Quite as sharp.
Yeah, they're not quite as sharp, but we call those like just minor things. Those are so minor to us.
Long terms there, just short term sometimes.
Yeah. Drives me crazy sometimes, but
sometimes I do it on purpose.
I know,
it's an excuse.
I can't tell.
I have a
can't
tumor.
tell
I have cancer. I don't know. No, I won't do the dishes. Sorry.
It's not fair. I don't have any excuses.
That's true too. Yeah.
Our new normal is that we're home every day. We're so thankful for that. We were in the hospital and at the doctor's office every day. Our everyday routine, his everyday routine is so much easier, but it also makes it easier on me. There were times where I had to dress him and bathe him, and it was very hard, but we're very thankful to have that back. Our everyday routine is so much easier. Things that we cherish, our faith, family, and friends. I'm so thankful that my husband is here teaching and coaching again. So those are just some things that have changed after our life with Avastin. We want to lastly extend a huge thank you to all of you for having us here. It is an honor for us to be here. I know it's neat to hear our story, but we truthfully feel that it's an honor to tell it and to thank you for all the work that you've done. So thank you so much. Some lasting thoughts for you. Keep working hard. By changing our lives, you've also influenced and inspired many lives. So thank you for that too.
I just want you, I mean, not only my life, but people that I know, people from the state of Wisconsin have contacted us and heard our story. When we went to New York, the interviews, and we had people from Georgia contact us, Florida, all over. The word spreads. You hear a positive story, and people, not only are you influencing us, you're making a huge impact.
And one other thing, this is what you were meant to do, or be. Maybe Steve was chosen to influence, show courage, and be who he was. So that's just a thought for you. And all we have to do is do the best we can with what we were chosen to do. So keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate it so much. We were honored to be here. Thank you for having us.